where the draft is right now. I wonder, can we take another social media question? No, we can't, because the draft is ready. Look at that, as if by magic, the draft begins. What do you know?
It's the Furion ban.
Hmm.
Yeah, EG's been playing it consistently today, so not too surprising to see that one banned out. Newbie tried to do this earlier versus them too, so they did the Furion Wisp ban, so that could be what IG has to do. But no, they actually leave the Wisp this time. EG's gonna take it right away.
Takes it.
Yep.
I mean,
No hesitation.
And one of the key things is they're banning out that Boboko Riki. I really feel that that hero is a must ban against IG right now, and he's been doing tons of damage with it, and we're seeing it being really strong in other games as well through other heroes, other players. Sorry.
Just the thing about EG's Wisp, EG's a team that traditionally has been very farm heavy. When they play with this Wisp, it's very scary because you feel like they're all farming you, but you can't do anything because this Wisp restricts your movement so much. You don't know where he's going to relocate someone else in, you don't know where he's going to save that person, and they're just incredibly good at using this global pressure in order to secure more farm and take the game into the later stages.
Well, I guess if IG want to learn how EG play with the Wisp, they're about to find out, and that's good news either way, I guess, win or lose. They're also kind of going back to what they're used to with the Mag and the Jug. So I guess Ellie's coaching advice worked.
Yeah.
They listened.
They heard me.
They did.
With my, what did Synderen call it?
Invisible sound.
Invisible sound.
Yeah.
Got him.
Yeah.
Spirit
Breaker.
Not the most successful of heroes, it has to be said. I think it's been played 3 times here and lost all 3.
He's very good with Wisp though. What you want with Wisp is someone who sort of goes in and creates chaos. Spiritbreaker creates a lot of chaos. He'll give you vision. He's a support that gives you something through BKB versus Juggernaut that you can relocate on and just kill him solely off this support hero charging him.
Yeah, and one of the big things that IG gets those comfort picks, Magnus, Jug. We've seen how strong it is. We've seen it in Burning's hands. We've seen XXS play that Magnus. It's going to be very interesting because I feel like that's a very, very strong combination here.
These guys are rattling through. I mean, over 2 minutes reserve time, and we are in second phase bans right now. There have been 5 bans and 4 picks. Just
that means they know what they're picking. It's going according to plan.
Yeah.
I like the Axe ban. I was a bit surprised EG actually didn't take it in their first 2. Very good versus Magnus. When you call someone with Blade Mail, they're empowered, they die. When you call Juggernaut, he dies. So generally feels pretty good there.
And the ban for EG.
Ember Spirit's a hero that's sort of he's hard to charge. He has 3 ways of breaking your charge and sort of a pseudo stun to stop the Spirit Breaker. Very good at Wisp, has a lot of high magical bursts. He's a mobile hero that can get on top of the Wisp. It's a good ban.
You think EG will let the Lina through?
I think they could ban it.
To be honest, I think they can play against Selena in this game.
Yeah.
I think
with the Spirit Breaker Wisp?
Yeah, I think the Wisp will give your mid enough sustainability to turn around the Lina gank, and Spirit Breaker makes that hero look very vulnerable at a lot of stages of the game. It wouldn't be a bad ban by any means. It definitely is a comfort lineup. Like, I don't know how many times IG have run Magnus, Juggernaut, Lina, but it is a lot.
It is a lot.
And I'm going to say all of those were wins. So
don't have it in front of me, but I'm fairly sure most of them, if not all of them, were wins.
Yeah.
It
does
seems
look like
that anyway, doesn't it? It does look like that.
It does look like it's going down for a while.
Yeah, folks scrolling down the page where the 3 have been picked, and it basically is a winning page.
EG revealed a lot though with those 2, right? Because they revealed their 2 supports. Or do you think the Spirit Breaker could go maybe offlane? I mean, we haven't seen that in a long time.
Spirit Breaker, I don't know about that. But you know, it does leave the option open. You know, as a drafter, I think you have to think about these crazy scenarios, and maybe you haven't seen this, and who knows? Maybe EG is willing to make that risk and try and work something around that. They have a strat that in case something gets out, they can pull out that Spirit Breaker as an offlane.
Yeah, they ban out the Lina.
So they do ban out the Lina. They obviously check that page out that Fogged was on.
You do reveal quite a bit by showing your first 2 supports, but to be honest, when you pick a Wisp, I don't think you're showing as much. It's not like the Wisp is going to have the same type of... It's about like how your supports move out on the map. So if you pick Wisp, no matter what the other hero is, generally your supports are going to move in a similar sort of way. So by picking the second support, I don't think you're showing as much as, say, picking... what's another double support combo pick? Say last game they picked Windrunner Rubik, and the other team knew those were the supports. They'll be able to say, hey, if we pick something like an Ogre, we're uncontested on the map. Once you see Wisp, you can already say, I'm Ogre. It'll be hard to contest me on the map.
I think IG might grab Monkey King here.
Okay, they're rattling through these again.
Still left there.
A CM for IG and an Invoker, early Invoker again for EG. Not quite as early as round 1 this time, though.
Yeah, there's a Monkey King and an Earth Spirit, so Baboka does have his choice of hero this game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think, although, as Lo mentioned, Earth Spirit has looked a lot less formidable than he has in the past, and Monkey King does have that very weak win rate.
Still effective in certain lineups.
To be honest, I don't think that win rate applies to Baboka.
I don't think so either, to be honest with
say.
you. And with Empower and with Crystal Maiden, you're already like amplifying him in a massive manner.
I would like to see a support who can stop that charge, though.
Yeah.
I think what Spirit Breaker excels at is when he can get into the middle fight, as I said, cause chaos, cast his ultimate. What he's very weak against is if he can't charge in. For example, in the past, if you played Spirit Breaker against Pit Lord, he would throw it on his pit, you couldn't charge in there, you would feel very bad.
Yeah. I think it gives IG a lot more like team fight too. Now they have this mag, they have the Monkey King team fight. And when EG already has like Wisp, Spirit Breaker, you know that they don't really have that good a team fight. They do take the Invoker, which gives them that, but that takes time to progress.
Yeah. There is an element here of both teams feeling each other out in terms of, well, go on then, we'll give you your favoured heroes lineup and do your best against us. And it feels a little bit like EG have kind of gone, all right then, play us using your Monkey King or your Spirit or whatever you want, Baboka, and we'll see if we can beat you with it.
Yeah, I like it from EG. If anyone wants to name the best Monkey King, it'll always be Baboka.
Yeah.
So you get to see whether this hero, how good this hero really is. Low win rate, but maybe he's still good. Maybe people are figuring out new ways to run him.
We also get to see an RTZ Clinks.
Yeah, more kind of like split pressure in a way, not wanting to take head-on fights.
Something that I always like to look at is pub win rates for heroes at the higher skill brackets. It tells you a surprising amount about the hero matchups, and I believe Clinks is like third against Juggernaut on the best heroes. He's high physical that can kill him through the spin. It's really hard to Omni Slash a Clinks because he's just so tanky. And he's also very high up there against Monkey King. Monkey King is a bit susceptible to just being bursted down through physical. Top against him is PA because you can just dagger and jump him. You have minus armor. Monkey King has very low armor now. So I like the Clink spec.
Gives you objective taker as well.
The one thing I am concerned about with EG though is they have a Wisp, a Spirit Breaker, and a Clinks. 3 heroes that aren't necessarily known for their team fighting. Invoker's alright. To be honest, Clinks is alright, but there's nothing like a Magnus or something that will secure their team fight. I think they need to look for that in Universe's hero.
That was the one thing I noticed is that, yeah, they're looking for these pickoffs, and they're going to try and focus on that.
There is Enigma.
Enigma. I think Enigma could be interesting.
I think
they banned the Void, so
farms.
Storm's gone as far as EG are concerned in terms of the ban. They've banned out the Storm.
You don't feel like Enigma's a bit greedy? I feel like they need a lot on their Clinks Invoker, and Enigma needs a bit too.
It is greedy. I think the last time EG ran Clinks, they had that problem, right? Like RTZ sort of fell behind in farm because he just had to run around and make space, and the other 2 cores were taking everything.
Right. Maybe that's kind of the approach that they want to take, but
I'm just not sure. I do know that if they do not pick team fight, they will never be able to take IG in a straight fight.
Yeah.
So while EG might be comfortable playing this very split push style, very pickoff style, and they do have the heroes to do that. They have the Sunstrike, the Spirit Breaker, the Relocate. I'm not too sure if that's what they want to do. When I see EG, I see them as farming a lot. I see them getting these pickoffs, but I see it all sort of combining into some good team fight with the advantage. And that's when I think EG is playing the strongest.
OP's got a little bit of an issue in that he's had a, 3 banned out. Yeah, the last 3 have been banned out.
They go for the beast. So even this is like full pickoff team. Like they do not want to take a head-on 5-on-5 fight. They want to split up the map, get as much information as possible, and get those pickoffs with Sunstrike and Spirit Breaker.
They're very committed to what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I do like also the Beastmaster gives them that vision to really search out and look for these pickoffs
for the Monkey King too.
Yeah,
you can hunt the Monkey King pretty well with the Hawk and with Axis to cut the tree.
I mean, there's one thing to be said. In this meta, I don't prefer these type of lineups. I just go for pickoffs and split push, but Wisp is the one hero that can change how styles work in Dota. He's a very unique hero in that sense.
Yeah. Where do we go then for IG? We've got top 2 of OP's heroes have been banned out.
Did VP run a similar lineup where they played the PA, I believe, and the Juggernaut and just blew everybody up and just trying to run them over?
Yeah, that was against some Morph.
Yeah, that was against some Morph. I was thinking that IG might go for their Tinker. I think that might be why EG also picked the Beastmaster to kind of dissuade them from going for that, because it's one of OP's best heroes. And now, so he goes for the TA instead. So more physical.
I really like that
very
pick.
good lane. I love this pick. I really like IG's draft.
I think this is going to be a very hard game to play Wisp.
This feels a very meta draft this time round from IG, much more around the way that they would normally play.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, let's start with our predictions. Conrad, we'll start with you.
I don't know. I really like IG's lineup. They got those comfort picks. They got, you know, all the things are taken care of. Team fight, you know, a little bit of push. I think that they're definitely my go-to on this one.
Okay. IG for Conrad. Howie.
I'll also pick IG. I like EG as a team, but I think the ease of execution on IG side is so much better.
More suited to them.
It's like you read my mind and you know exactly the words I'm going to say. I was literally going to say ease of execution.
I just steal your ideas and take them.
Fogged, can you tell us, how are you going to predict this game to go?
I mean, they already wrote it.
Oh. So you're so predictable. Even production have managed to put that in as a prediction now. 3 out of 3 as far as IG are concerned. And we will, of course, come back with some more from our analysts after this game. Is it going to be a 2-0 for EG, or can IG draw level at 1-1? Let's find out as we head back to our commentary team for game number 2.
That NA bias panel, now Juggernaut Magnus.
It's because you called them out.
Bobica. Yeah, it's definitely that. Like, this is overcompensation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Terrible, guys. They're probably going to be right, though. This draft looks so much more stable for Invictus Gaming. The lineup's good. We saw what the Templar Assassin was able to do up against Anna's Invoker. And he's done the same thing again with the early Sideblade build-up on OP. So it looks like the laning phase should be a hell of a lot better for Invictus Gaming this time around.
Yeah, this is kind of back to the roots. Best way of explaining it. Bobica is on a roaming hero that this time, we talked about it post-game. Obviously, the viewers didn't hear that, but when it comes to Treant, I think one of the hero's weaknesses is his inability to pressure mid. And Bobica might feel a bit limited in the game with what he can really do. Monkey King is, I would say, has more play potential in the mid lane than Treant does. Obviously, they both kind of need trees. But Monkey King has a better jumping range just by utilizing the trees. He has an actual range stun, so he can combine with his other support way better. In addition to that, they got their Magnus again.
Watch the monkey.
Yep.
He's jumping in. They're trying to contest the rune. Q's moving up. He's got Frostbite available, so they're going to keep him off the rune. Burning will snake it. Now, do they want to stick around and try and fight this? Frostbite, Im to spin. This is almost classic Scorne style with Frostbite and spin.
This is actually interesting that they're going for this dodge. So I don't know this Magnus versus Beastmaster matchup that well in terms of who's the favorite here.
I suppose if the Shockwave's able to kill off the boars, then you've got a better chance. But if not,
really be enough I think on every level of boar, they have enough health to match the corresponding Shockwave. They easily do. So it's not that simple for Mag. However, he can. I think that's going to be pretty even overall. So it's more, whenever I see an aggro trial lane versus a safe lane trial lane, this is the lane to watch. Like, there's so much at stake in this lane because of how many heroes are affected by what happens. I do want to quickly mention before we really get into this game as well that EG are opting for a similar style to what we talked about in Game 1. It's way more split push oriented, it's way more pick-off oriented rather than this hardcore team fight. And IG again are settling for the team fight this time. Yeah. This time they have the Magnus as their team fighter instead of the Treant Phoenix. And they have the Monkey King, who is the support with exceptional teamfight capabilities. So it's going to be interesting to see.
I love watching this positional battle between OP and Samael. They're both kind of going ham at each other, and OP, like, he's only now just really got his refraction to play against Samael. But, okay, Crit frostbitten up on the top lane. Maybe this is now worth it for Crit to start tethering through the tree lines and getting rid of it. Because Bobica's having himself a good time, and the sentry ward that was planted down is just out of range of the obs ward on the top lane.
That ward is very important. When you play aggro tri-lanes like this, any sort of information in the jungle lets you know what you can get away with. If you can go for an aggressive play, if you can get a pull-off, if you can contest a rune, or if you can even rotate away entirely. Monkey King, if he knows that the supports are stuck top, especially if they don't have TPs, he can go and look for a play mid with a Smoke of Deceit, or he can even TP to a safe lane if he sees a play there. But overall, for now, I think the safe lane of EG is going very well.
If he hit that second side blade, I would have been a little bit more questioning of Invoker's life. And you're seeing Bobica move right over the top of a Dire Observer ward. He's doing it. But we were begging for this in between Game 1, Game 2. Bobica, the ability to move around, harass, and actually have an influence on the mid lane.
Double damage could get interesting here. I don't think Crit has any idea what's happening right now. He's going for a pull, and sure, there's no Jingu Mastery or Boundless right now, but he hits really hard right now.
He cut the tree line. The tether will have to come in from Crit to try and protect up Zai, who's going to stay on the cliffside, but it's Crit who takes the damage. Nice the charge forward from Zai will create space, but Crystal Nova, most powerful ability in the game, will help get the first blood. Zai's dropping down low too, but burning the damage from the creep wave, not to mention Arteezy sitting on the back lines. is able to bring him down. So Burning will lose his life for 2 of the supports of EG.
I think it caught EG off guard, this Crystal Nova, because of how unusual it is nowadays to skill CM like this. He went 1-1-0 build, saw the opportunity to go for the kill, and you definitely, in this situation, you skill the Crystal Nova and get that first blood. He will need to retreat to the Shrine or even the base now. Looks like he's going to Shrine with Boboka and find his level 3 in the jungle more than likely. They want this aura available to contest this lane. So they got a couple key kills, and they know they're doing well in the mid and their safe lane. But this top lane, it seems to me that most aggressive tri lanes right now get out-farmed a bit. It just seems difficult to put the necessary pressure, and it's because EG have access to their easy pull, mainly.
Well, top lane, the pressure's coming in. Q still got the Frostbite available. Arteezy's trying to get back to the tower. The tether will come in. So will the charge from Zai, but Arteezy's already down, so the fight not really worth it for EG. Now they've lost their core.
You see the intention of IG with their skill build. Burning going for
OP.
the...
Oh. He doesn't miss uphill. One more attack will do it.
This is... I gotta say, this is pretty damn rare, I think, that Sumail gets solo killed. It doesn't seem to happen very often anymore in general in mid, but especially Sumail, to me, almost always seems to be on the other end of that exchange.
I think a lot of the credit also has to go to OP's positioning.
It is a TA favorite matchup, so it's difficult for Invoker, and both of these players are exceptionally good. So
Sunstride's going to connect on Q with the Searing Arrows from Arteezy. He has the damage, starts his spin to get back to the tower. Bobrica creates just a little bit of space with that Boundless Strike, and Burning, no point up in healing ward. He'll have to salve up to get back to the front line.
I was going to point that out. The aggression of IG, that what they want to accomplish with this lane, is really showing in Juggernaut's skill build. Almost every time we see Juggernaut, he will skill that value point in healing ward for the sustain. But they want the extra damage to try to go for the kills in the lane. He realizes how much that crit can change the fight for him. But, so we were mentioning before, they're falling behind in this lane. Burning's level 3.5 and Arteezy level 4.5. And when Arteezy hits level 6, this lane to me is over. I don't think IG can kill him anymore. The Death Pact is going to do way too much, both in terms of damage and health.
But it's the trade-off the fact that XXS is still getting a lot of space on bottom lane. Like, he found the solution to that lane, just never back up from a Beastmaster ball. Stand your ground, let the Empower do the work. It may only be level 1, so the push isn't too much, but he's able to get on top of this and force Universe to start just farming on the side lane. So you can move to the top lane, give the Empower, and Burning starts to play catch-up. Yeah,
that's one way to do it. I'm a bit surprised. I didn't think this matchup was this one-sided. Perhaps Universe made a mistake, or XXS played it very well. Magnus generally does well against melee heroes, like you said, because of the Empower, but I thought Beastmaster had the sustain and the abilities to deal with it. He didn't even Shrine yet until now, so he is back in the lane, but looking very good for XXS, of course.
XXS tries to battle the regen wall with him by picking up the bottle early on. Charge top lane. Oh, Monkey King. The bash is there from Zai. With the spin, Arteezy's not a healthy man. Running down, he's just got enough distance. 42 HP. Burning. Zai gets another bash. Burning into the tree line. He can't cut. The Frostbite will do the damage. So Q will get that kill, but they lose their entire tri lane to do this. Not when Bobrica comes back to the front line, looking for a kill on Crypt. But don't worry, Zai's got bashes for days.
He's going to get his boots now. That's a really big change for Spirit Breaker, getting that first movement speed item up. More damage.
While that happened, we were actually praising XXS. He died on the bottom lane. Universe will bring him down, so...
Probably was the Sunstrike involved in that kill, I would imagine. And that basically means that the CS advantage of Magnus doesn't really do anything anymore. Universe is overtaking this lane. He has the highest net worth in the game now. He's level 7.5. Mag sitting at 6.5, so this one kill just turned around the lane completely. And EG, I would say, are in a pretty good position. The only lane they've lost at this point is the mid lane for Invoker. And they can probably catch up with that, especially when Arteezy starts moving around, and just the kill threat is going to be scary for IG to deal with. Juggernaut is so far back. He really needs to get some levels here.
Q and Bobrica, trying to create a little bit more space up on top lane. OP is able to dodge the charge in, and that does reveal the fact that Arteezy should be alone. With the Observer and Sentry, IG know exactly where they want to attack, but they need the Frostbite from Q to really connect. Without that, they don't hold Arteezy in position.
That's a good word. And they'd even let them charge Q here. So, probably going to be cancelled. Yep. Turning around. And I imagine things will be a little bit quiet now from the IG side. They need to secure their levels at this point. This top lane aggression is kind of over at this point. Klinks will find his level 6 soon. Boboka will look to go and find his 6. They will need this Wukong's command at some point at least. And now that OP is level 7 on the Templar Assassin, it opens up for this mid lane to be farmed by someone else. Just overall increase the efficiency of your lineup. let her jungle, farm some Ancients.
Charge comes forward. Zai making the most out of that Observer Ward. Q is in the neighborhood. And he's just trying to get to crit, but crit's too far away.
Actually, Burning has caught up with the Clinks in levels. That's interesting. A moment ago, it felt like Arteezy was far ahead. Well, there is a big wave coming into him, so he will get level 6 here if they let him solo. Looks like that is indeed the plan for EG. And more than likely, we're going to see him run into his own jungle, death pact a big creep, and then either look to TP bottom and kill the mag together with a roar, or he'll return to top to farm or get a pick here. If they realize there's a ward now, Q is going to remove that very nicely. But still fairly quiet overall for IG in this lane. I don't think this is what they expected. I think they were hoping for better results in this lane than what they ended up getting.
Yeah, I agree. Because if they had that, then Bobica could have started his rotation a little bit faster, moved and actually influenced the mid lane. Again, now we see this little bit of a battle with Sumail. Sumail's not in the same timing as before, just because he has to expend more money, getting things like the wand. So we're not going to see that 9-minute Hand of Midas he had in Game 1.
XXS is pretty dead if he doesn't TP right now. I think they can just dive him in the
unless he's good enough with the RP. There's your charge forward, 3 heroes together. The Sunstrike's right in the money. Magnus copping a lot of damage. Oh, he tried to go for the RP. The stun from Bobica really doesn't do enough work, but Burning is able to get the spin kill off, and this will actually strand Zai. He's got charge off cooldown now, but it's not fast enough. OPL hit the Meld Strike.
That could have been even worse for EG. If the RP goes off, they get the 3rd kill as well. Beastmaster will definitely die to the Juggernaut there, as well as the rotating TA. So EG kind of got away with murder. It was very clear they were going to get that kill, but IG were ready for it, pounced on it, and effectively by doing this, they've now put Burning in the safe lane. So you'll get some catch-up time. Probably going to empower him fairly soon and let him farm his own jungle. Obviously, that is more or less a bit reserved for TA. And I guess that's the good news for IG in terms of their lineup. They don't need a super farmed Juggernaut to make this work. If Magnus is this rich, he can kind of become a semi-carry himself, or even a hard carry if he gets rich enough, and they have a TA. And TA is doing well.
And it's a much needed space for the supports. Everyone's going to get their level 6s pretty quickly, even Q's just taking the side camps.
I really like these wards from EG in the top area. It clearly shows what their next move is. They have warded for the occasion. They want to push this top tier 1 tower with the Clinks with Death Pact. They want to have as much information as possible.
Crit's going to tether over as well. Sunstrike, perfect positioning. Once again, we expected nothing else from Sumail. XXS, there's going to be the jump forward. He can RP, but he'll only grab Zai, but Zai will be enough for him. With OP's TP in, gives enough damage to help Magnus get the kill.
You're happy with that if you're EG, I think. Trade support for support. You force a rotation TP with RP. Gives more safety around the map. And this safe lane for Burning is not easy. I want to point out, he's level 7 Juggernaut against a level 11 Beastmaster, who has Vladimir. So this is not an easy lane. He can actually bully him so hard that he's going to need help just by running these 2 boars in, and the threat of the Roar. He can kill Burning alone here with a Sunstrike, probably. He's going to go for it. The charge is also coming. Pretty far away. Oh, he's low.
The boar does the damage.
This is not fair. Most matchups are not fair when one guy is 4 levels above the other at 11 minutes. Now he's 5 levels above him, by the way.
Friends are coming down. Smoke maneuver from Q and OP. They're going to try and find their target. They'll probably notice that creep camp is gone. In fact, it's coming back down the hill, so it got pulled up. Bobica up on the trees, jumping down. Universe trying to fight him up. The stun will connect on the Beastmaster. In comes OP. Bobica's probably going to die for this one. They line themselves up. The freezing field from Q makes it impossible for EG just to walk away. So Q and OP will find the kills. Actually, Q who got the big one on Universe. And there was nothing that Crit could really do to help him.
Nice rotation from IG. They managed to protect their tower. I thought that one was gone for sure with Universe and Zai being down there. Beastmaster pushes fast, so you don't have much time to make these decisions. So it needs to go very swift, and IG confidently manages to get down there. It does, however, custom the top tower. So EG's game plan of keeping the pressure up on all lanes is definitely working out right now. Getting that safe lane tower. Sure, it gets denied, but still great for them. Sumail is farming and pushing out mid. He's top leader, top CSer right now. And this bottom tower, it will fall pretty soon. They just need one good gank bottom and it's done.
Yeah, and it looks like IG is moving away from him. Like they're grouping up around their Ancients. Of course, that's right next to the Dire Observe Ward. Arteezy will move up. He sees Burning. Q. Sentry Ward is there, and he throws one down. Caught a glimpse of Arteezy. But it's the Courier sitting on the hillside, which is revealing the Observer Ward. Someone messed with it, but they do bring down the Obs. So EG are going in deeper. They put a fresh Obs on top of the Radiant Shrine inside the Radiant Jungle. and then keep going. They want to kill, and they're going to find OP. Dust is up. He's trying to hide inside the meld. That won't work. And no refraction charges because he went for the meld. Now refraction is up. A little bit of extra life. The charge forward pushing back the Magnus, so he couldn't get the quick RP off that would have caught 3. Instead, now he'll catch 1. Just the IO. Again, the freezing field from Q will push EG further into the Radiant jungle.
Crucial that he gets knocked back there for EG. IO will, however, die again, so still no relocate online, but it won't be long before he has that. And at the same time, Boboka is also level 5. Do want to point out this Crystal Maiden went for an Urn. I love this item choice. I think in general it's good on Maiden, but in addition to that, they're playing against an IO, and you just want to, if possible, have damage over time effects on IO all the time, so it can't bottle heal the teammates.
Arteezy.
Well, Urn doesn't help against that.
They lose both Q as well as Boboka.
This could even be a Roshan attempt for EG if they feel confident enough. They're 5 on 3 for a little bit. It is not the biggest window, but they know Boboka's level 5.
Yeah,
Instead, they're going to go for bottom tower.
There may not be enough mana on Arteezy to really do it. It's
Zai scouted. Yep, Roshan is alive. I don't know what he was doing in there. It just ran in and got tanked it a little bit.
Just a friendly neighborhood greeting.
I suppose so.
But again, EG, like their warding has changed up. Like we talked about the warding getting dewarded around Roshan. But now because that observed ward near the shrine, it allows Zai just to charge himself forward. The relocate's on the way in as well. It brings Samel with it, but OP, well, you gotta love refraction. He's able to just blink himself away to safety.
Speaking of OP.
It's balance, man.
Refraction is pretty crazy sometimes.
Easy.
Actually, how doesn't... Wait, how did he get his blink off?
Refraction was up when Zai charged in.
Zai has an Orb of Venom, so he didn't get an attack off in between his charge and the ult, I think. Because the Orb of Venom should cancel his blink. It deals so little damage that it doesn't break Refraction, so it actually pierces it. So if he gets an attack off, I don't think OP can blink there. And that's a really big difference. That ended up costing them a kill on a tower, actually. If that was the case. I believe it was.
We can check the replay and report on it back later.
Write a report on it.
Yeah. Get Officer Malini. Burning's coming down the bottom lane just to try and defend this push. And
so now we do have the Wukong's command online for Boboka. That is a game changer, of course. A lot more teamfight potential. And at the end of the day, right now it more comes down to the Magnus than anything else. And EG have been able to do a pretty good job avoiding big RPs. And they have to do it. It's not just that the RP is good, but I really like the synergy between Magnus and Crystal Maiden for the reason that it allows Crystal Maiden to cast the freezing field in a really safe position. You stand far behind the fight and start it, and they get skewered into the field. We've seen that played in multiple games with great effect. And that means they actually have kill potential even without one of their cores or without the Monkey King there. This just that combination deals so ridiculously much damage that you can win fights where you're outnumbered.
And they're actually forcing it quickly. So you've got all these things up. You want EG to come and fight you. EG are taking the moment to kill off Roshan. He's down to 1/3 of his life. TP support's coming over for now. And, well, they've got to move quickly. Roshan's almost gone. Zai gets hit by the meld, so he'll end up falling. Roshan still is in the hands of EG. But what's the cost? Zai! He charged away just as XXS was trying to skewer him back into the Invictus Gaming lineup, but they might find the bigger one. The Invoker, Samael Tornado will buy a little bit of space, but his Aegis Immortal will still trigger. Arteezy's waiting. There's a Sentry Ward nearby, but Boboka, he puts up the Wukong command, combining it up with Omni Slash. Samael will die twice. So Roshan was nice to have, but the advantage is only golden experience now, and even that gets offset by the win of IG.
I'm not completely sure who really benefits the most from this. I mean, the kills go their way. They trade it off for Roshan. But I think it's important for EG that this Aegis doesn't go the way of IG, who could have definitely contested it themselves with this Templar Assassin almost having the Desolator. And they end up trading, what was it, IO and the Invoker only for it. And
but
IO is not that
Invoker's hand a minus off cooldown.
Yeah, all right.
That's it.
Big win for IG.
Yep.
But yeah, this fight just shows that EG can't deal with the team fights right now. Like, they tried to go for the Roche hoping they could sneak it because of the push bottom from IG. They weren't fast enough. The moment this Monkey King Wukong command comes out, the fight is just over. They can't get into it with their heroes.
It's funny that that's
RP
the big thing. Like, it wasn't used because Zai was never able to tether down. Like when he tethered, he got caught on top of the cliffside, and that just allowed that TA just to go ham on him. So you didn't have that extra sustain. But you do have this. Like Arteezy's just taking the tier 2 tower and there is no effect of IG down here. So Arteezy is fine.
This gets a bit dangerous now for EG, I think, because IG have reached a point now where they can start grouping up and just take these towers, and I don't know if EG can deal with it. So they need to play the fairly difficult split push game right now where no fight breaks out whatsoever. If they get a key pick, they buy themselves 2 minutes, basically. But if they don't find any picks, they could lose the remaining tier 2 towers. And IG are finding some key items now. The Manta Star is coming out on the Juggernaut. It's going to be very nice at just confusing the Clinks, dealing with Invoker spells, such as removing Cold Snap or getting out of Ice Wall. If you're good, evading EMP. I don't know if that's even anything special anymore. Spell dodging with Manta seems like something you see every day nowadays.
I don't worry, I'll still get #1 on Reddit. Got to get that good karma.
Only gets #1 on Reddit if it's Arteezy doing it. You need to keep that in mind. It has to be him.
That's why the only Magnus plays that ever appear is Arise.
Someone else.
It's like, where's all the highlight clips of XXS? Obviously not. It's only ever Arise that plays a Magnus.
Oh, they don't look as flashy.
There's no one called S with a 4.
Yep. It's Arise gets the style points though.
He does.
Makes them unnecessarily complicated sometimes. Oh, looks cool. Maybe it wasn't necessary to go for that like blink force
it's the ability to get a
RP when you could just RP.
Ability to get a 5-man RP with the Do-Si-Do.
Yep.
All right, so fight time. Invictus Gaming want to force it. EG will smoke up and just move in from the west. Observe Ward down for Q. So they will see from the side, but they don't have that vision list. Someone stays close enough, and they smoke themselves. They were right on top of the EG vision, so they know. EG are fully aware, but this may just end up being 2 teams walking into each other.
IO is not visible. It is under smoke. It's a bit hard to see sometimes, and he's also invisible. So he's like very invisible.
Don't worry, the Arcana will make this very visible in the future, right?
Absolutely. This is a very important moment. If EG lose a team fight on their side of the map right now, they lose a lane racks. If they don't have buybacks. And, well, it looks like Invoker may have one, so at least he has some pretty good defensive tools, but nobody else on EG. And they're going to play it safe. Might just flat out concede this tower. I don't really know if it's possible to
They're still
fight
in a
for.
flanking position, but...
this is dangerous.
Okay, Crit's right underneath the Observe Ward. Q knows exactly where he is. With the sentry down, they Nova, so Q reveals the fact they have vision on the high ground, but all the way around the back, Arteezy, he wants a creep, but there's nothing here for him to munch on.
It's a lane creep. He's not going to reveal his position, though.
He'll have to go in very deep to the Radiant jungle.
They actually defended with this move. That was very nice. They ended up defending their tower by just...
by Arteezy not finding what he wanted?
By just wrapping around them. IG got uncomfortable with the whole position because they don't have the vision in that area.
They're coming in again.
And they're worried they're going to get backstabbed. They don't have any sentries left, I think. Only a dust, but they don't have their scan.
Yep.
So, well...
Arteezy reveals in the mid, and they're fully aware now that they have the advantage here.
They got uncomfortable for 10 seconds. It's a win.
They have their own fortification too, so they can slow down this push from Arteezy.
Yep. They're letting him strafe it down, actually.
Yep.
That's a really late glyph. They could have saved this tower way better than that.
Well, Burning starting his TP. Chris still here, and that TP's not even going to complete before the tower is dead. OP, he arrived, but that ends up just being a straight 2-for-2 trade-off, as in the tier towers.
That's a...
Run
a little bit of a mistake there. It's the same as when you're against Leshrac and you let his Edict go for almost the entire duration. And you're like, oh, our tower's being pushed. Let's glyph. And then the Edict is over. It's like, oh, you know, could have maybe saved another 500 health on that. So I think EG in this position are pretty happy with that trade, to be honest. They do identify what threats there are. Very cautious with taking the fight, knowing that realistically, the longer this game goes, the higher their playstyle has a chance of succeeding. Because the waves are going to be pushing harder. They're going to get these key items that allow them to eventually teamfight, or even better, split push so fast that the teamfights can't break out.
It's funny to hear that when you're still going up against a Magnus. Yeah. Going high ground is going to be wonderful with the damage that Clinks will be able to provide, but you still have to be so cautious about the teamfights.
Absolutely. If EG gets to choose what way this game gets played, I think they don't teamfight at all the rest of the game. I don't think they want to. They want to find one key pick into split push, where Arteezy might be on the opposite side of the map pushing the other tower, and IG have to split their forces, and then all of a sudden this RP play doesn't look as threatening anymore. In addition to that, they have really good vision, as was pointed out on the panel. Like, the Clinks can scout, the Roar...
it's on the Juggernaut. The spin's still there, but the damage RP has to be committed here by XXS. They drag Arteezy underneath the tier 3 tower. The Wukong command, he's on the run. The damage output with the Earn tick. He's down to 11, down to 9, and now 0. So a 1-for-1 trade-off. Make it 2 because Crystal Maiden is currently dying under a meatball. And they retreat.
Carry for carry, no tower damage. And a bit of a bonus there for OG on the kill and CM. It's a slight advantage, but they can't really turn it into anything yet. Roshan hasn't spawned. That as far as towers go, there's only the top tier 2 that they can even really deal damage to at this point. The wave isn't close enough, but it effectively just converts into some farming time here. I think Universe's job at this point in the game is this kill on Juggernaut was really swift and clean. If they get into a slightly less of an ideal situation, he's probably going to be looking for the Magnus. And if he can blink Roar the Mag, even if he doesn't kill him, if he just takes him out of the fight, like imagine they just isolate each other and force the fight away from them, I think EG's chances of winning the fight are a lot higher. Just because if it gets split up, that's the kind of fight Klinks wants to play. It's the kind of fight Invoker wants to play, unless he has a really good teamfight setup, which just doesn't exist for them. And it's probably also the kind of fight that Spirit Breaker wants to play. So.
Bobica's hunting around. Yeah. I'm wondering if he noticed that Zai planted the Observer Ward down.
He's going to get spotted by Hawk here. Ping him out. Beastmaster knows exactly where he is right now. He's going to ward. That will be removed immediately. By immediately, I mean...
when a sentry ward is able to come to the location.
Ward, they haven't bought one.
There's only the Obs on crit.
Did they not notice? They might not have noticed. Doesn't look like they bought any sentry or gem yet.
Well, would they have actually seen it when he pounced up? Because he was down pretty quickly after.
If they checked his inventory, but they might only have seen him on the minimap and not clicked him to see if he had a ward. So if they get away with this, that's a really, really good ward to have right now for IG, overseeing 2 of the big creep camps that RTZ might be interested in playing around, and giving them the Roshan vision that they need. They know this Rosh will be spawning within a timely manner. So, OP.
He really wants to just clean up this wave nice and quick. He's got a double damage rune, so confidence is brewing.
That was nice and quick.
Yep. While Burning waits on the bottom lane.
Notice, by the way, this TA went for a build that I feel like we don't see as much right now as we did just a few months ago, or even weeks. He went for the Hurricane Pike after the Blink Deso. I think more often we see just the BKB or Dragonlance, or actually sometimes no Dragonlance at all even. But he wants the Pike, and I think the reason is he can get into trouble against these boars where he's immobile, and he needs to have a way to move around the fight, and especially if he can isolate the Klinks. If Klinks is dusted up or whatever, and he can blink on him and then pike him, he gets the range advantage that Arteezy can't fight back in, and isolate him. Similar, if he jumps on the Wisp and pikes him and there's vision in the air, Wisp will die from full health. And taking out that hero early on is a really, really big deal for IG. So I like it. Like the pike here. He's transitioning into a Linken's. Both Linken's and BKB have their merits here. Unfortunately, BKB is actually not that good against Beastmaster or Spirit Breaker, but it's really good against Invoker, whereas Linken's is a lot more underwhelming there. And that's a nice thing about EG's lineup. It's very good when the enemy cores feel like they need that extra item that they just can't afford. It always sucks feeling like, I need Linken's and BKB, but I can't really have both item slots, and if I can, it's like, oh, so much gold I need to farm up. So OP has made his choice, and he's countering out primarily the Beastmaster, and of course the charge of Zai. You get some nice information out of that Linken sometimes. Crimson Guard. Nice. I was asking this yesterday, how that interacts with Monkey King Ultimate, and it just works fully. It just blocks them as if they're a hero. I think this item is really good in this game. Against the Monkey King ult, against Omni Slash. At the same time, though, this TA hits for 350. Good old 350. I'm probably going to kill him. Never mind. I just heard a charge. I got excited.
I think he was looking towards
that range creeps.
I think he was looking towards Bobica because they were hunting the Hawk of the Beastmaster. But now with a 4-man smoke up, there is a Forge Spirit battling Roshan. You can wait for this Forge Spirit to die. And then they attacked too early.
They didn't wait long enough.
Yeah, the Forge Spirit vision remained, but OP slides in. He actually uses Hurricane Pike to close the distance quickly. But they'll be done.
Too fast.
Like, the Sunstrike's coming in, but EG are well out of position.
Really nice play by IG. I think they knew. I'm pretty sure we were past max respawn time. So they just identified they have this good ward that they placed earlier with Monkey King that never got countered. Have a good read on where EG probably are inside their own jungle with the defensive ward they have as well at their own shrine. And they just see an opportunity to smoke and get a quick snipe here. Yes. Even though that wasn't perfect.
So now that IG has the Aegis Immortal, it doesn't give EG a free ticket to push high ground.
No, this
actually means EG have to delay up the game even more?
Possibly. it really depends if they can just catch IG off guard. The problem that EG's lineup has that we haven't talked about too much is that they want to play this split push pick-off game, but they actually don't have the best wave clear. It's mainly Invoker that will be pushing out waves. Beastmaster is decent, but the problem is for him to push the waves fast, the boars are not really enough. You need to be there with your hero to do it really effectively with the wild axes. And then you're revealing the position of your ganking hero, apart from obviously Spirit Breaker, but the Lincolns are coming out. And that means that finding this, forcing IG to split up is very difficult if you can't get these waves pushed
Burning
out.
the jump with Diffusal Blade. Zai's gone for 45 seconds.
Yep, they don't know he doesn't have buyback, but they might just go for this. They have Healing Ward, they have an Aegis, they have a better team fight.
You got a double damage on an Aegis the Immortal Juggernaut.
This is actually really scary.
You're going to start pushing this. Now, Burning's taking a hell of a lot of the tower, but thanks to the Healing Ward that's also down, sentries in position, there's no way for the Clinks to slip in behind. In fact, Arteezy's just trying to creep skip at the moment. So the Sunstrike will be able to connect. Burning's not too healthy. He's got a quick little bit of a burst heal, but Bobica actually dropped off the tree line universe, going to cut those trees down. So Bobica can't play with it, but the damage is being done. The tier 3 tower has gone 1 death on a Spirit Breaker, and there's the RP! He only got 1 skewer, but it may not matter. The relocate! Sumail gets pulled out just in time. He was isolated, meaning the Omni Slash was fully connecting on him. Almost a dream situation where they only wanted the 1, but IG still take beat the melee racks.
That was actually such a sick defensive play by EG, but the damage is already done, like you said. And IG, good choice there. You know, other teams might be like, you know, all right, we didn't get that kill. They relocated out. They're coming back, but we still have Aegis. We still have a lot of other abilities. They just realized, okay, you know what? It's good enough. Let's not take the risk. Wait for our abilities to be ready again. We will have at least another RP still with our Aegis in hand. And if they can force another situation like this in the bottom lane, I see similar problems for EG. Arteezy did snipe the courier, by the way. Not sure if we pointed that out. There was a Lincolns on it. So TA will have to wait another 2 minutes for that sphere. That's kind of the duration of the Aegis, I think, that remains. So once that Lincolns is up, the Aegis on the Juggernaut is gone. Could play a role. We'll see.
Potentially. But you do also now have the Basher over a Monkey King, so Wukong's command just got upgraded.
Yeah.
So good luck avoiding that. Are they actually grouping up to fight even without having the Lincolns?
That item of Monkey King is so filthy. I kind of feel like this should work in a different way.
He's not a dirty monkey, all right?
Why does that work? Well, why? Why do they bash?
It doesn't make any sense. Zai just lost his boar and actually put down an Observe Ward. He was still under the cover of smoke, so Q would not have seen that unless he fears something else is there. Yeah, they're worried about it. Okay, no, they see it because the Gem of True Sight's on the Magnus.
EG are at least managing to push in the waves nicely here. They got a good push on the top wave now with Clinks and Io. They got the Invoker here. Of course, that's one of the benefits of Io. Even if your heroes don't have the best wave clear, like a hero like Clinks can still go for it, knowing that he can join the fight because of the relocate. But it's still not ideal. But EG have managed to kind of control 2/3 of the map right now while being Rex down. Now the question is, can they set up a fight the moment this Aegis expires? It's about to run out in, what's this, 1 minute? I think, yep.
Yes.
1 minute to go.
Yeah,
you don't want to fight into this Aegis if you have the choice.
TA Trap makes it fun to see.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward. This.
Sumail. Issues after you lose any kind of build like the tier 3 or even now your racks, you're going to lose the Shrine. That's a big one too. That's the contesting Shrine for Roshan that EG will no longer be able to use.
Yep. And OP has a lot of influx of value right now. He has a full Chrysalis and the rest of his Lincolns coming in. So if you thought he was scary before, he just bumped himself up like a good 4,000 net worth with the Courier coming in right now. And he is dangerous. I think EG, even if they get a good jump at this point on, for example, the Magnus, the TA is so powerful that if Invoker doesn't get to control her, she can kill 2 or 3 heroes.
But isn't that when you look to something else? You look to the Beastmaster. Level 3 Necrobook just got finished up on Universe. Burn off the mana.
It might not be a choice anymore. Maybe he has to control the TA instead of going on the Mag. It just makes... You know, the fights are pretty hard. It's not easy for their lineup to play against Mag. Clinks is a hero who kind of has to really telegraph his positioning to deal damage. He doesn't have that long range. He has to, especially because he didn't go Dragonlance in this game, he has to stand and deliver. And that just buys time for Magnus to see, oops, there's a Clinks. I think if he RPs the Clinks and they kill him, it's good enough. So very, very difficult times for EG ahead of them right now. At least they waited out the Aegis.
It is funny, right? Because you're right. Like, if you initiate with the Necrobooks, you burn off Magnus's mana, so he's incapable of actually lending the RP or any kind of crowd control. And then the only other crowd control you have is Popica's Monkey King, which has
But that's
Bash.
pretty damn good.
That is pretty damn good. I'm not going to deny that one. So, like, still, where do you start your target? But then again, you said it before, like, you don't fight, right? Like, you look for the pickoff. But Invictus Gaming at the moment is walking around as 5. And the only other way you can counter that is by having Crit and Arteezy hold hands until the ends of time and be dragged in through tether and relocate if an engagement does break out for EG.
I think it's entirely possible that this game just goes quiet for another like few minutes. IG try to keep control of the Roshan area. They want the next Aegis, and then they're going to try to force a high ground fight. EG, on the other hand, they might play into that for a bit, but if they want to have a chance at this Roche fight, they have to find a pick-off before the Roche begins. I don't think they win the fight in the pit. There's just too many factors going against them. TA traps can see them moving in there. Monkey King can be in any tree in the area. Sure, they can have that.
Oh, RP.
Yep.
It is going to be IG who find the pick-off, and it's a big one. It's Arteezy.
70 seconds.
You've still got another 70 seconds before Roshan's even going to spawn up.
I think they're pushing bottom. Maybe. Oh, maybe not.
Okay, the pink line is drawn from IO. I don't know if that's meant to be a we keep the creep wave at this line to the left.
Exactly what it's meant to be. Push in the lanes and corner them if you can. That has to be what he means with this.
Well, Samael's doing it on top lane. He's actually pretty close to completing up that Octarine core. And if he gets the tier 2 tower as well, which he actually does, he can add pressure to the tier 3 tower. And this is when IG have to question it.
This is actually scary for IG.
Because if Klink Spy's back and you can relocate him in, you can actually turn this into a trade-off. Fortification's already been burnt. The blink away from Samael. He's still sticking around. BTs are available for him right now, so he can come back if he wants to. But we're in a trade-off position. Fortification from EG comes out, but it's Samael who takes the first tier 3 tower out of at least this trade-off.
He's currently being faster than the full IG team. Now they overtook him a little bit.
Yeah, now the melee rush is gone.
Trade.
Are you happy with this? I suppose you're getting closer towards Megas if you're Invictus Gaming. That's your advantage.
You know
EG don't have great ways to deal with that.
EG are also getting closer to Megas, Toby. They also got a barracks.
Really?
Yeah, they did. You didn't see it? They got it. It's gone. It's a trade-off. All right, given the circumstances for EG, that is pretty much the best thing that could have happened. They didn't have to buy back their core. They traded barracks against a team that has better team fight and had a 5-on-4. I don't think that could have gone any better. You could have maybe considered even relocating top just to make the push faster, like bringing Beastmaster and trying to go for a collateral and getting 2 lanes. And that would have more than likely forced IG back, but they might have been scared that they would get caught in the enemy base, and then all of a sudden they could lose more than just their own barracks. Maybe they could lose, well, more than just that lane, rather. And the Roshan has to be in the back of their minds as well. It won't be long. It's about a minute to go. IG looking for the exact same play as before.
Yep.
It's not up, though.
There goes your Sunstrike. Yeah, they have to wait a little bit longer, but the positioning Universe walks straight into it. XXS, he gets roared up, but the Omni Slash is bouncing back down, but it's almost soaked up by the entire EG lineup, but the Wukong command Bobrika's position is absolutely perfect, combining it up with Q, protected by his Ghost Scepter. Finally, Arteezy can kill him off, not to mention Arteezy attacking Burning. He dodges that attack with the Manta style, so Arteezy, OP can focus on him. Finally, the Wukong command will wear off. Wisp will be coming back, and he'll bring Samael along with him. A quick Tornado, Juggernaut's up and towards the air, Spirit Breaker will die, but Samael is the primary target for Invictus Gaming. But Arteezy, the RP through the rear, IO as well as Klinks trapped in, but the damage isn't enough. Crit let the one charges go. He might just have enough life with the Sunstrike connecting. OP's not a healthy man. Bobrika wants to keep fighting with a charge from Zai. Back into the front lines. Crit, make a break for the tree line. OP's defensive up. He actually has refraction charge to protect him, but XXS, he's just basically skewering oxygen at the moment. OP continues on the run. Only the illusions caught out. Samael will realize that now. The real OP is moving with the blinkers off cooldown for Samael. But does he want to do Roshan? Does he want to fight the TA? He'll actually go in for Roshan. The trap went down. They see it. They're trying to kill off Roshan. IG, do you want to defend this? OP's just farming at the moment.
I don't think they can. They're 3-on-4 and they don't have their ultis right now.
They'll let it go.
That was pretty big for EG. There was a buyback coming out of Zai and XXS, but so a 1-for-1 buyback trade-off, but it was on a core from IG. They still get the Roshan here, and I want to say that I've watched a lot of Dota, I think this might be the biggest value I've ever seen out of a Solar Crest defensively. Arteezy dodged like 4 TA attacks in a row, stayed alive, came back in the fight, dodged attacks again, and that Crest kind of just won the fight. If you're OP right now, you're pissed off, and you're just there's the Bloodthorn, you know, like get out of my game. It's just like, that's just too much. And the key thing here is that EG get the jump. Like Magnus dying immediately. We said it might not be enough, and it looked bad as well. Like they got this Magnus kill right away, no RP used, but a great Wukong command and freezing field. Made the fight close, and I actually think IG win that if they get just a little bit more lucky on TA. Not going to say you're going to blame it on luck here, but it obviously is a factor when you have this evasion, and EG just played that fight pretty much to the limit. And Sumail, exceptional spell usage. When he came back from the relocate, the Deafening Blast on the TA and I think it was Juggernaut and TA.
It was the save we were waiting for from Crit.
Yeah.
Like not even having to have a offensive relocate in the fact he actually has the repositioning. And that control. So Invictus Gaming is 19-19. That advantage they have, about 4k gold, gets almost nulled. EG do actually lose out in the experience and actually starts to move back up in favor of Invictus Gaming. And we've got ourselves a close game. You're still both mid and bottom, not full racks, but racks up for IG. So they are still the ones in control, sort of. As close as you can get. Sumail, RP, there it goes from XXS. Dragon back in, and Invoker for all his great positioning. We'll lose the Aegis, the Immortal.
Oh,
BT's in, Universe is here, he can blink Roar. Do they have enough time? Here comes the Wukong command. Invoker's down, Crit can't get him out. In fact, he loses his life. Q just lets it go, and the isolation is Arteezy. Both of the big damage calls from EG are gone, and Beastmaster will join him, or Spirit Breaker will join him in the afterlife. Universe is on the run out of here. This is not what they wanted.
That is confidence from XXS. He went on the guy with the Aegis, got an immediate skewer before EG could respond. He just felt like he had a chance there, jumps on it immediately, and what a reward. They got 4 kills plus the Aegis, so actually 5 kills, and they only lost their Monkey King.
And they can force buyback. They get it out of Sumail.
There's going to be an Arteezy buyback as well, I think. This, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe IG are a bit hesitant here.
Without your RP and Omnislash, do you really want to go again? Even Wukong's command is down for the moment.
It's actually true. The only rewards they can reap here are like ranged barracks. The bottom one's really low, but they're not going to go for it. Going to get some map control out rather and set themselves up for a better fight soon.
They're preparing for the next items. Lincoln Sphere is the build coming in from XXX. How are we looking for the Templar Assassin? Like, she finished the Bloodthorn, but now actually has enough money for buyback. Some decent cash on the Juggernaut, and he's building a Monkey King bar. No evasion on this front.
Well, he's still, at least Clanks is still going to have the evasion against the TA when he's in BKB, because then he can't get Bloodthorn. But the Juggernaut can solo kill him with an Omnislash, more or less, when he has MKB. So, difficult times ahead here for EG. Still feel like IG are just, after that fight, I was going to say EG are in a pretty good position, you know? Like, the racks are fairly even, they have the Aegis, they're in the opponent jungle. One misstep from Sumail, out of position for a moment, gets punished. The entire advantage is just gone within 10 seconds there.
So EG have to be able to get control of it back. Wait the timeout. Invictus Gaming. They're very happy with this. This is more time for their critical items. Universe, like even his next item, like he's looking at a Shadow Blade. Yeah. At least it lets him initiate and play around the fight a little bit harder.
He has to find heroes. It's like the only way they can play the Beastmaster now is find key hero and go. He has the Shadow Blade, he has the potential of finding a different angle. Maybe he can sneak past the Monkey King as well. Even if he's in a tree, he might be able to get a jump out of that.
If you're looking for that opportunity, though, like if it's all about EG getting the pick off, what do you think about Arteezy going in for this Assault Cuirass? Like it kind of makes sense for a push, but isn't it better just to ramp up the damage output on this Clinks?
I think it's a good choice because he's in this awkward position where, you know, if you're Clinks, you like going full glass cannon, but he's just too weak defensively.
Monkey King, Universe, Blink, Roar, all the Force Staff, not enough to save him. There's still more than enough damage. It was Q that was trying to help him with the Force Staff. Tornado was able to catch out Templar Assassin, but quick refraction up. Not wanting to use the Blink in case they want to be aggressive. And it won't happen. Relocate was also burnt from Crit.
So what you often see Clinks get here is a Monkey King bar. The problem with that is, yes, he can do even more damage. I think there's no evasion at all.
There's a Solar Crest.
There's a Crest on Monkey King. Okay, so he would be countering that. But the problem is he's too weak defensively. Now that the Monkey King bar is coming out and Juggernaut and Tia has this Bloodthorn, Arteezy is actually just dying too fast. And armor is the name of the game against this lineup of IG. They're so physically oriented in their damage type. The only hero really doing magic damage is actually
XXS. They see him. Oh. There's your RP solo with the Frostbite and the crit.
That's why he needs an easy. That was without Juggernaut, by the way. That was 3 heroes.
He was still Bloodthorn and Meld Strikes. Like, you want to say, get out of my game, that is exactly it.
Yeah, well. That was without Juggernaut, though. Mm-hmm. The AC is going to allow him to survive an Omni Slash or a TA jump. And I think it's naive for Arteezy to expect not to get targeted at all in a fight. He kind of has to have options, so I like this AC choice a lot. The concerning thing for him is he might actually not be able to complete it before IG look to push again. If he wants to have buyback, that is. There's still quite a ways to go for Arteezy to have buyback and the full AC complete. Whereas Burning on the MKB could buy it now, then he won't have buyback, so I think he's going to save. This is a critical moment in the game to have buyback on especially your cores.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're looking for an engagement.
Yeah.
Like, if you were happy just to keep this game going for a little bit longer and wait for Roshan. Oh, this Blink Skewer. Zai.
'Ever see a Cal move like that?
20 seconds. This is pretty bold from IG. They don't have RP.
Oh, Universe, Blink, Raw, Sunstrike, Juggernaut. Chris actually buffing up the Necro melee warrior at the moment. Trying to get it back into the fight, battling against Burning, protected by that Lincoln Sphere. The tier 3 tower is dropping.
The Necro warrior lost Toby.
That's a brutal battle. Obviously, he wasn't naughty as smacked him up.
Kurt didn't support it well enough, didn't use
He was not Gladiator.
He didn't mech and cheese. Mech and cheese?
Mech and cheese?
Sounds nice.
Well, this isn't the American major.
Well, that's it. They are going to back out. They almost got the tower. Roshan Control is, again, probably going to be the name of the game for IG. They did find these wards now. Going to get rid of that. Does OG actually, or EG, does EG have any vision on the map? I think that was the last ward. I can't see any right now. So,
well, they look pretty blind.
This is difficult. At least they have Hawk to scout with, but Arteezy can't scout. It's way too dangerous right now for him to go in front. All right, Arteezy doesn't care. Oh, he cares. He's not going to go down those stairs. So they only really have the summons to scout with. They are going to find this ward of IGs, so that is at least somewhat helpful. And they did manage to sneak out a ward in mid. This is important. Like, if you just get a little bit of a safe zone somewhere around Rosh, so you have any information to go by. This ward in mid might not look like the greatest Roshan ward, but it's the only one they feel like they can realistically place that doesn't get countered immediately. And if it sees any pick for the Beastmaster, that could eventually lead to a Roshan Freak.
Here comes your 5-man smoke gank. IG. Arteezy was the bait. Still is the bait. In fact, EG will now smoke up themselves. There was no Radiant Vision in the tree line, so IG are pouncing themselves up. If that middle lane pushes in, it's that little bit harder. Actually, it won't. The bottom lane is also a little bit too far out as well. Still, Evil Geniuses, they got a small wave with them. The Radiant scanned the wrong area. They managed to do a complete loop-de-loop.
This is good for EG, I think.
Well, they waited that time for Roshan. He's up in 25 seconds.
IG are on the wrong side of the map right now, and they got a ward out that isn't really yielding any benefit just now. They know that it's going to be around Roshan right now, and if EG stay here, and now IG are going to run through the aggressive ward that EG placed in their jungle. They see the TA. This could be a Rosh snipe if they stayed in the area, but they really need a Hawk in the pit right now, I feel. Or
it's moving to the shrine.
Anything in the pit for EG right now would give them some very valuable information.
They're still wondering where, like Invictus Gaming going to be setting up. That's why this Hawk has to come in so deep.
This is a really big pick if they get it. OP.
There's your jump. Universe, Blink, Raw, Templar, Assassin down. 99 seconds on the sideline. Does have buyback available.
That is huge. If
they're actually taking the shrine out. They don't want IG to have that front line position where you can just TP in the TA after she buys back.
This is dangerous for IG now. If they buy back the TA and she dies, the game's pretty much over. If they don't buy her back, they lose the Rosh. This is pretty much the perfect kill that EG could find.
So you wait then. IG just have to wait.
Yeah, you can see this Rosh. Let EG ferment some more cheese. Arteezy's sitting on the old one. Doesn't get better over time, though, in this game. He's actually going to drop it to crit. He's going to take another cheese.
Crit was the original carrier.
Wait, so he just dropped the cheese to pick up a cheese.
Yeah, so Arteezy has cheese, Crit has cheese. So he could have
also just let Crit take the cheese.
It's the Arise strat, man. It's overly complicated. And then Samael.
But they didn't use Force Staff for the cheese. Maybe they'll do that next time. All right. Pushing time for EG. This is big. They can probably
42 seconds.
Okay, so if they can still force this TA buyback, this was a big mistake for IG. If they end up having to buy back anyway, they could have bought back and maybe contested the Roshan
They don't really
area.
have great high ground defense.
Oh,
Like
this Hawk is good right now. It's really good. From Universe.
They see a lot, but they need the opening. If the mid lane can keep being pushed out, then Arteezy can't do exactly what he's doing. In fact, they just skewer him in under the tier 4 towers, but the relocate pulls him out. Mag RP was committed plus the Nova.
They have to do this, actually, IG. I think it's a good play. Even though it looks pretty bad for them that they don't get a kill with the RP.
They're waiting for the IO.
They save a buyback.
They can kill the IO. They actually bring Arteezy back in with it. So quick Omni Slash bounces actually out to Arteezy and away from Crit, leaving Burning stranded outside. Maybe with the charge, Zai, he's able to get a short range charge only, but Crit so low. In comes XXS, goes from the skewer, but then none of them in the Wukong command. EG get out, Crit remains alive with 110 HP. Meanwhile, up on the north, Universe takes out the end of the top racks, beating him for this and having IG looking behind themselves. But IG didn't have to commit the buyback on OP. So they hold their tier 3 towers, they hold their mid and their bottom racks, and all they lost technically was the range.
Yes, and EG
Because it wasn't even a kill.
EG did... Wait, didn't they lose the Aegis? Oh, they still have it on Sumail.
Yep. No, they lost. They even commit cheese.
No.
They used the cheese on Arteezy.
Nope.
Oh, no, you're right, because Io is currently becoming the Cheesecake Factory.
Archeesy.
Arteezy. Oh,
dear, what
no.
are we doing? He wants the Hyperstone, so that's the full AC, I believe. And buyback. Not available, actually. Arteezy should have maybe stayed in school a bit longer and finished that math course that he didn't, because if he dies now, that's actually a pretty big problem.
I'm sorry, cheesemakers aren't allowed A-grade math skills.
Okay, explain this to me. So when you're Monkey King sitting in a tree, why can you turn yourself into a tree? And there's a tree on top of a tree.
Yeah, he should become a butterfly.
I mean, something
That
else.
would be better camouflage. Or a branch. Like this really odd-looking, wonky branch.
I don't know. Imagine you're the other team and you scout him with a hawk. You're like, I wonder which one is Monkey King. Is it the tree on top of another one that are literally not connected, or is it one of the ones surrounding it?
The natural growth. Oh, Arteezy initiated, but again, it's the relocate save, but at least it's only Burning having to commit his Abyssal Blade in order to get that jump, and it's not the RP
It gave them
of
a
XXS.
It gave them a mid tower, but this is probably going to cost them. I don't think EG can save
Oh,
them.
they actually bring in Arteezy as well.
Are
The
you
RP
crazy?
will catch two. In for the spin. You've got your refresher orb up, so there's a secondary RP available, but Arteezy's down for 95 seconds, and there's no IO for 50 with no buyback for him.
I think Crit just mistimed it. He
meant to sever.
He wanted to instant tether after relocate ended, and he cast it too early. So he brought Arteezy back with him and just threw him to the Hounds. That's actually a pretty big misplay at this point. This is going to open up the map for IG, and they can more than likely force this Klink's buyback. That's 60 seconds about, so when they reach the base, more like 50, I guess.
And all they got to do is push up through the mid, because then they can just rotate towards the top and get the Megas. If they lose the bottom racks, you're still okay with that. Megas versus 2 lanes of just like super creeps. You're fine with that.
This is still dangerous. They could end up trading fully.
But OP's down here.
1 lane Rex for 2.
Like he can actually like. Okay, he almost 2 shots down the entire
He has
wave.
travel, but does he have anything to travel? He's actually just going to get gone by Universe.
Is there enough? Zai's going to charge into the top lane, still being attacked by Burning while all this is going on. So your Templar Assassin will die. Buyback is available. Burning is still chipping away on the top. He's got Q on Bobica sitting behind him, and they relocate in. Arteezy, he's going for the tier 4 towers. Are they really trying to do this? Bobica is actually TP'd himself back in again. The top lane's gone down, and now it's defense time. Burning almost dead, but not dead just yet. Bobica is holding Universe in position. They skewer him back in. Sumail, can he do the damage? No, he can't. OP will trigger the Aegis to the Immortal. They want more. Now back to the world of the living. Will he be sent back to where he belongs? Sumail, BKBs with the tornado. Well, space is created. He'll blink, he'll ghost walk, and he's on the run. But you still lost almost your entire rack. The range rack is alive, so they don't actually have the Megas here in Victus Gaming.
The only buyback there was the TA, right?
Klink's also bought back.
He did?
So you had a buyback on Klink's and TA.
Right. There's a lot that happened in this log. Actually, can't even see that. That's a lot of things happening within a minute. So, well, there's 1 mid lane of racks left for IG, and there's 1 ranged racks left for EG. And more than likely, if one team fully commits to get a racks, it will be a trade, and it's Megas against Megas. And I think if we get to that stage, that will favor EG more than IG, just because the dynamic of the map just changes with all these hard creeps pushing. Just a little bit of momentum.
Burning. The bad position for him. He's being charged down. The push, it'll actually drag him back into the Sunstrike. Buyback is available. But he's also going to be careful. Bobica spent all of his money to buy the Assault Cuirass. So you don't have buyback on your Monkey King. And you still don't have RP for 42 seconds.
That's actually really bold. I'm surprised he didn't keep buyback instead of that.
Maybe it's just the confidence, the double RP. They still have to wait. Like when RP's back off cooldown, so was the Refresher Orb.
Yep.
And he's actually going in now for the Octarine as the second one.
EG definitely want to force this buyback, and I think they can. But there's a lot of pressure on XXS right now. I think at least one of the RPs has to catch 2 heroes, or they need to double RP the cores. Because buybacks for EG plus relocate can get really, really nasty when they're inside the enemy base. And if OP dies, he doesn't have buyback. So there's a lot of things stacked up against IG right now. Good vision being planted here by EG. The gem will spot it, but I don't think Q dares to go for it.
No, it's too far away. Like, and no one's got a quick quelling blade, so that you actually have to walk up and hit the damn thing.
They don't have any Mantis
XXS.
style. He might not have seen it, actually. They're not dealing with it at all.
XXS is staring down Sumail. He wants it, but Sumail's got a Refresher Orb, so that's double the BKB, double the Shivas, and double the abilities.
If he gets RP'd, that Refresher does very little. If he gets BKB off, though, he won't get skewered.
Okay.
Oh,
Hello, RTZ. There's your RP. XXS going to drag him back under the T4 towers and relocate. It's so quick from Crit. RTZ will survive, and they got the buyback on the Juggernaut, so EG get a victory on that front.
All right, let's see if Crit kills Artur again. Nope. Just himself this time.
Yep.
Good choice.
We support your death.
I think this was what EG were hoping to happen. They got out an RP, they got the Jugger buyback, and all they paid was a Wisp, who will still be alive for the Roshan spawn.
XXS still wants to go again. Like, he instantly triggered that Refresher Orb to look for a secondary RP.
EG are using their tools very, very well right now. They, like we've talked about a lot, their team fight is inferior, but if they get these like really quick jump picks and catch IG off guard, the fights are playable. So this is very difficult for EG, but they managed to get the little advantages they can, and now Universe could actually buy a Refresher and have buyback. And a double Roar is scary stuff for IG to deal with. He gets one on the mag.
He's going back for it now.
Oh, really, any 2 Roars. Whatever he can get. If he can get both Roars off, that's a very good start to the fight. Even if he catches like the Crystal Maiden and Monkey King, for example. That's still probably good enough. Just getting some control out on some key heroes that lock them down. All of the heroes for IG right now are kind of key, actually. The Crystal Maiden even has an Ethereal Blade, which there is actually no answer for at all.
Well,
on
no one bought Diffusal Blade.
That's a really big deal. He could save the Roar target. The only damage that really goes through the Roar, or through the E-Blade rather, is Sumail, who's going to be loving the fact that they're ethereal. But apart from that, Beastmaster can't really deal any damage. Clinks can't. Spirit Breaker limited. IO Spirits, it's like, probably not enough. So Burning should more or less be invulnerable, actually, if the Crystal Maiden is in a good position.
They're looking to fight here.
They want to try to jump. They're baiting him super hard here.
Nice Burning. Oh, the RP! XXS, he blew it! Oh, no! Bail, 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 bail. This is not the fight you wanted, but Sumail did burn his first BKB, at least.
EG know the Refreshers on cooldown if they paid attention, so they have a minute here.
Yeah.
No RP.
That they do.
They could actually just go in for this, so they know there's no glyph, because they forced that the last time, and they have buybacks on which heroes?
Buybacks are available for Mag, CM, Invoker, Beastmaster, and SB.
But EG actually have only one. Oh, they have Invoker and Beast, so if they...
Invoker, Beast, SB, yep.
If they commit in and they force the enemy team to go on, for example, the Beastmaster, both of these heroes have Boots of Travel. Invoker should actually just buy Travels too, I think. And he could buy back and travel in on a hero to make sure it completes. And if they like bait him to get racks, it's worth it. If they could somehow set up that fight, but they're really cautious here. This is such a
They're still waiting for Roshan as well. Like, they actually got so unlucky with the Roshan
Roar.
spawn time, but Forced off.
Very quick.
He actually used it himself when that Roar was kicking in.
Very, very quick there from Q.
Yep.
He actually didn't even have any vision.
EG will have to wait until the RP is back up before they can actually get into Roshan. And then you beg the question, how does IG approach this? Do they, again, let EG get another Roshan? They're still holding onto the cheese on Crit.
I still really like the idea of sending in the Juggernaut and just trusting in the counterplay of their own players. If the Juggernaut gets jumped, by the Beastmaster. First of all, he can try to Manta dodge like he did the last time. The Roar is actually not that difficult to Manta dodge. It's one of the more telegraphed abilities that the enemy team has. And if he fails to do so, there's still the Ethereal Blade, in which case they need to all in with Invoker on getting the kill. And if they fail, the counterplay is just really strong. So that's one opportunity. Alternatively, you do it with TA. Buyback on cooldown for 30 seconds only. Juggernauts is for 3 minutes.
They smoked. OP is the only one not caught inside of this. As far as Dire Vision goes, however, the Hawk coming in that was it. Like, they have one Observer Ward inside the Radiant jungle, but they don't see anything around Roshan. So Bobica, he'll look to jump in. The RP catches 2 into the Wukong command, trying to split it up. No, Bobica now. No, he actually tried to release it twice. It doesn't work. They already killed off Sumail, who does have buyback available, but Roshan is already so low that it looks like EG will have to concede it. IG will actually grab it. Crit comes back. He tried to save it, but it actually gets pulled back. But yep, mid lane, Universe jumped in. OP's nearby. He'll actually say the get out of my game card. And will it be enough to actually kill off Beastmaster running through the north? It will definitely will be. Beastmaster is down. Io's the only one from EG that doesn't have a buyback. And you didn't even have to, like, okay, Refresher Orb was committed, so the RP is back up again.
I think this was probably the last nail in the coffin here. IG are in such a good position. Now, both buybacks for EG will have to be burnt, no doubt about it.
Yep.
And even then, the fact that they don't have IO for 30 seconds means the relocate's on the sideline, so this is a guaranteed kill with the RP.
You will have the double
roar. Any core
raw.
they find should be a kill.
You should still have the double raw. Like, Beastmaster buys back, he has his Refresher Orb off cooldown.
Oh,
they're letting the range ranks go, and it's all about the tier 4 towers, but look at where Arteezy's jumping to.
They're going to try to base race, I think. It's at least an option they have.
You need the second level BTs on the Beastmaster to make that work.
Arteezy didn't get the wave in. Bottom wave is not pushed in yet.
Nope.
So there's actually no opening for EG. They just flat out got mega'd. And the way I'm saying that with my intonation sounds like Arteezy made a mistake, but I actually don't think he could have made it in time.
Nope. Well, if he started attacking it, IG would have known about it. They would have still taken the Megas, and then they would have backed out. And like the whole idea of if you're base racing is EG get close enough, they cancel the TPs back.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way that base race sort of works.
It's very difficult for EG to set up a base race now.
Yep.
Sure, they have this still pretty good split push, and it's still a very big disadvantage now with the Megas. It is a winnable game, however. I think we've seen EG pull a miraculous comeback like this not too long ago. Against which team was that? I can't remember. They had like this absurd defense in a game. I think
you'll have to rely on your memory.
I feel like I remember Universe playing Axe in that game, and they had a super fat.
Oh, Zai, you don't want to be there.
Dagon
you
guy.
really don't want to be there. Blink
Dagon.
Skewer.
Oh.
He didn't want to commit the RP. Zai even stopped a Lotus Orb on the run out.
He wanted to be there. Then he didn't anymore and ran away. Uh-oh.
It's like an instant regrettal. TZ, there's a Gem of True Sight on Bobica, so he understands that they're both staring each other down at the moment. And there's your jump forward. They find Zai, so yeah, he didn't want to be there, but he went back in there to be there, and now he's not there.
He's actually going to buy back. He has a respawn talent. That was a very fast respawn. All right, guys.
I want levels.
I need to learn why I died. Time to immediately read 3 books.
Nice meteorite onto Burning, but then again he gets the spin off, so not a lot of damage as the back line. The Raw stun over on the Magnus. Will it be enough with the split damage? Omni's actually been soaked up by the Necro book, so Burning very ineffective with that one. Now allowing Arteezy to do some damage. Again, another tornado from Sumail connecting onto the Juggernaut, keeping him out of this fight. But this is a clusterfuck at the moment. Everyone's jumping everywhere, and Zai, maybe he can't jump fast enough. The tether coming in from Crit with the extra heal, but the RP, XXS, he gets hexed up, and Nobi with the skewer. They can actually hold him there. The cheese triggered from Crit. He gives the life back again. EG holding in, but now it's Wukong command time. The balance is on the field. The stun on Zai. He can't run away. The Bash Lord actually still alive at 133 HP. Back through the mid. He'll finally go down. The buyback is here from Crit, so he's here to stand his ground. RP is up for XXX, even though his mana pull is absolutely shite at the moment.
That was actually such a crazy fight. I don't even know if we have time to talk about it, but the cheese usage from both Bobica and Crit in that fight, more or less perfect. Looks like it's still go time, though.
Yeah, Arteezy, he's trying to bring down Burning. No extra life for Burning. OP wants to jump in. There goes your RP. It's able to catch out Arteezy. Crit holding him there, trying to save. Not enough. Sumail will have to do the work. Universe back to the front line. Raw still not up, but the Necro books burning out the mana, and they're pushing IG out of their home, especially when Arteezy buys back. They need some extra kills at the moment. Bobica up and jumping. Tornado flies through. It doesn't actually connect on the right tree. So he will survive. Arteezy finds the opening, and it's OP! A huge roar. He's still down for 2 minutes, however, but buyback is available. Not to mention that top racks did go down, so Megas are in favor. So good luck, EG, on defense. Whew. So now you can talk about the fight sim.
Yeah, well...
So what was so great about the cheese?
Well, Bobica was down to like 5% and popped the cheese, and then both Crit and Zai were down to 5%, and then Io has this beautiful tether ability that just heals them both to full immediately. This is some really high class stuff, this fight. Very, very nice by both teams. And once again, I have to point out how well EG are playing around these teamfight abilities. It's impossible not to get RP'd. Like, let's be honest, it's not going to happen.
Wait, you got 2 on the field and it's XXS?
Yeah, XXS has really only found either 1 core RPs or 2 supports. That's more or less what he's managed to do. And the 2 support RP there was beautiful. If the cheese doesn't go off, that's probably game. Like, they both die there. I think Wisp already expended buyback, and so did Zai. But they managed to stay alive.
Are they trying to fight while RP's down? Technically, it's a 30-second window with no RP from XXS. And if they can force the Megas out, we actually get Mega on Mega action. Sumail can BT in, so he's keeping the wave out for the moment.
We might see something similar to last time.
XXS, Blink, Skewer, he got Arteezy. Do they have the control? Omni Slash is there, a quick relocate, but you actually end up losing Universe. Templar Assassin is still down. She is not committing the buyback yet. Burning the damage from Arteezy. The Monkey King bar is actually doing lifting at the moment. Burning will have to buy back. TA is still holding hers. But the bottom lane is pushing in onto EG's base. The timer is against them at this point.
Oh, Arteezy will kill these racks really, really fast. He has Alacrity.
Fortification, that'll do the work. Lotus Orb actually stunning over on Q. They push him away and wait for that initiation. Watch that Magnus closely. RP, they find him. Crit, he can tether himself in, but he'll end up losing his own life if he does it. The range racks remains up in the mid. If they brought that down, it would have been Mega on Mega action.
No buyback Arteezy. They know this. But I think this is the end of the game, Toby.
And the RP is just coming off cooldown because Refresher Orb just came off cooldown. So they've got it back again for Invictus Gaming. This whole series could end up taking 4 hours, maybe 5.
Shout out to Paul. Sorry, buddy.
Enjoy your late night. Yep. Enjoy your fantastic Dota, however. This has been a terrific series already, and I'm happy to watch a 3rd game come out from it. As in comes IG. The real test moment.
Race.
Oh, Sumail. Is he doing it? They're actually going to try and do it? Through the backdoor protection with the Necro books. There's fortification available here for EG, but you've already lost 1. The relocate pulling back Crit. So as SB was the only man trying to create more space, the Radiant Fortress is down to 2.8, but they realize Invictus Gaming, they have the power and they have the victory, forcing out a Game 3.
That was a really great game.
It was. I agree. I concur.
That was really, really nice because, you know, it kind of had everything that we were hoping for in terms of IG finding some really cool teamfight abilities, ability usage, EG playing this great split push and pick off game with the Beastmaster. It's like 2 completely different playstyles playing around each other and trying to find the conditions that suits their lineup. At the end of the day, Invictus Gaming did win this, but they had to work for it really hard.
Yeah.
And it didn't look like it didn't look like IG were satisfied. Like from that post game shot, generally after IG's victories, they've been like smiling, maybe cracking a laugh, having a good time. It somehow feels like this was not the performance that they were expecting with the picks that they had, especially given on day 1. Like if you gave them these picks on day 1, that was a 35-minute game maybe.
Yeah.
But this was really, really difficult.
Especially after like their first series today. Now they come into this one. So you start begging the question, okay, well, IG fell a little bit off the rails. And now this series, it's so hard to work for so long. So fatigue is going to start kicking in at the end of like, it's the end of the group stage. It's like their final game to push through. And the question is, do they actually have the stamina to do it?
There's also a team on the other side.
There is EG.
And they could also be affected by the same fatigue.
They also could be.
You know, it's
so
like,
balance.
I don't know who's affected by fatigue the most. I think at this point, adrenaline kind of conquers it quite a lot. If you play a game like this, you're pretty pumped up.
Well,
you don't really see it in the shot after the game.
If adrenaline is a factor, then EG have lost. Because obviously they're cool, calm, and collective. As opposed to IG, who are actually
also cool, calm, and collective.
But happy.
They didn't look happy.
They smile.
They didn't smile.
Not today. But maybe they smile later. We'll find out.
Maybe the panel smiles.
maybe we smile occasionally. There are 3 happy gentlemen on our panel right now because they got another prediction right. The first time we've had 2 in a row for all 3 men at the panel. More, though, we've had a fantastic match. What a great game.
Much closer than I think that we thought it would be, especially...
Yeah. Very at the end, it was a bit like, whoa, well, hello, what's going to go? And it could have gone the other way, couldn't it? One mistake either way, and then suddenly EG win that game.
Yeah, definitely. I think Sumail made some pretty good decision makings in that game. The trading for the racks was probably one of the biggest ones, but his spell usage as well was pretty absurd. They came out really well after the laning phase as well, EG, just because of the way that the Jug kind of got shut down in a way. Like, he got picked off a few times by the Sunstrikes with the Beastmaster role, not really expecting that, but then at one point, it seemed like IG seemed to kind of understand like what EG was doing and splitting them up, and they just started to do this group like ball unit as IG, and they weren't really getting picked off so much, and that's when they started getting their big advantage.
Yeah, as soon as they grouped up as a 5, they started getting back into this game. The other thing as well, there was I think we'll see it in the replay in the highlights, around about 28 minutes-ish, there was a godlike relocate from Crypt. And it wasn't the first one, and it wasn't the only one in the game either. Another great game from him. You can almost see why teams are banning out the Wisp against them.
Yeah, I mean, as a Wisp player, I've played the hero a lot of times, and looking at that lineup, playing a Wisp seems pretty terrifying. I mean, you're very susceptible to just dying almost instantly if you're out of position at all.
At the start of the game, I even mentioned, I thought this is a hard game to play Wisp.
Yeah.
Crit showed us it was hard, but if you play it perfectly, you can have a lot of impact in the game. I just want to take a little bit of time to say, EG's lineup was very hard to execute, but I think they did everything they could have in this game. They opened up the map by taking some early towers. I mean, the heroes had good push, but I was scared they wouldn't reach that out of lane.
Look at this.
That really
what a real case. And I was scared they wouldn't reach their split push potential, but to be honest, for a lot of this game, because EG opened up the map so early, they were able to... I thought they were taking it for a while.
Yeah.
For a long while.
Yeah, could have gone either way. This was a fantastic team fight as well. I mean, you want an example of what a great team fight looks like, just watch this back again and again.
The individual like usage from each player, like the Manta by burning there, Arteezy resetting the fight and going left over there with living because he has Solar Press, the misses. Sumail's right here with his Ice Wall Tornado combo right here completely messes up the RP, which is about to come in from the bot back Magnus. So it's just like so many little things from each player was...
And I just want to give a shout out to Zai here. Not many players rushed Crimson Guard as a support player. In this game, it had enormous impact. It single-handedly salvaged this team fight for them. It protected their buildings at one point. It was just such a good item. The only magical damage they have is CM. They have things that even give extra physical attacks like Juggernaut Omni Slash. The Crimson Guard are just so high value this game.
Seems like it's a really good choice even versus just Monkey King ulti in general, right? Like,
I think you're right.
Kind of counteracting mechanism in a way.
It definitely helps. It doesn't stop you from getting bashed, but what it does, like, Monkey King ulti is good. That's a little bit of an understatement. But if you can sustain through it until your cores can find a way to jump on that Monkey King, like, that was the EG plan, right? Klinks would be able to find a Monkey King and kill him. Crimson Guard will help immensely with that.
Yeah, and I mean, they're EG did a really good job of actually keeping the game very close, at least in net worth as well. Almost all the way throughout, and obviously at the very end, kind of blew up in their faces.
Yeah, what a fantastic game as well. We're tied back up at 1-1. Do you think that, even though IG have won that game, I think there was a great point in the commentary from Cinder, and he said a day ago, if they'd had that lineup, that would have been a 30, 35-minute game, and they'd have won that really easily. Because they found that so difficult to execute against the lineup, which, frankly, they should have beaten on paper. Do you think that affects IG, or do you just think, actually, we've got away with that, we've got a game out of them, we can win this series now?
I think maybe a tiny bit, but I think we have to give a lot of credit to EG. They played their lineup, which is, like we keep mentioning, super hard to execute. They played it almost, like, very little mistakes coming out from almost anybody.
And we almost ended up with a Megas versus Megas game again. What is it about EG at Majors and TIs that seems to bring the Megas to the fore? I'm thinking back to the TI6 game they had with...
Ehome,
yeah.
I mean,
the Daggons.
For me, they're the comeback kings. Their mental fortitude, at least within the game, really, they always try and win. Like, even at the very end of this last game, they're going to back. They're doing everything possible to try and win that game, and they're always making those right calls.
Yeah.
I love that you made that point about the calls, because as we look at the graph right here, we even see they weren't like losing, I guess. I mean, they were kind of losing the majority of this game, but they took 3 of the Aegises. Their objective taking in this game was really smart, the decision making, like Conrad was saying.
Yeah, this is the big fight, as we said before. just in front of their base. And, you know, these kind of execution, it almost seemed like IG were like, okay, yeah, we're in a position now where we want to take down Mirax and we're going to win this game. But EG just time and time again said, no, this is our game to win. We'll push back, we'll go down the other end, take a Rax themselves. It was just back and forth the whole way through. Very enjoyable to watch.
Great item decision making as well by EG. We saw them picking up the Vlads early on Universe armor. They get the Solar Crest on Klink's armor. Like you said, IG was very physical damage dominant, and then they go for like Guardian Greaves on the Wisp, like all these type of like armors, the Crimson Guard as you mentioned before. Just very good itemization.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to say that's such a good point because we mentioned in the pregame after the draft, EG's team fight did not look that good, but they itemized in a way that actually allowed them to fight IG over and over.
Yeah.
And IG was scared to go into some of these fights. When they're pushing that tier 2 bottom, they were worried.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
EG capitalized on a lot of these splitting up and being able to fight them.
Standout player, I think Samao had a great game, obviously. Crit had those incredible relocates, but where does the MVP go for you guys?
I mean, XXS Magnus, right?
I mean, that is just...
I'm not sure.
He's so iconic on the hero, but once again, like we were talking about in the first game, IG as a whole played really, really well. You know, I think Crit's plays... he's on the losing team, but I think Crit's plays really stood out to me that game, especially just playing the Wisp that, you know, showed that he was being banned all the time. But XSS on the Magnus he's just hitting those RPs, he's making those plays, and he's getting his team in the right position at all times.
I love how XSS plays Magnus. He is never afraid to just jump 1 or 2 heroes when he knows it's good initiation.
Exactly.
He might even mess up once or twice, but he will never be afraid to go for it again. And that's honestly the biggest hallmark of a good initiator.
A lot of players do end up doing that. They we want to get this like massive RP and stuff, but he goes for these solo RPs just because he understands what he needs to do.
He also gets MVP for breaking the graphs. Just, you know, off the screen with some kind of ridiculous net worth on there as well. So
yeah.
It's over 9,000 production, tell me. XXS winning the MVP in that particular one. So we're tied up perfectly for these two teams. Very fighty amongst them. Are we gonna get the same thing again? Do we dare hope that we have another enjoyable match like that in Game 3?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think this is what I think IG is going to look at too and be like, yeah, we should stick with our comfort. We should stick with the heroes that the kind of like overall draft that we're most comfortable with rather than experimenting. Because at least when I look at the secret games and I look at the other EG game that happened before, that looked like a bit like experimentation to me. Like with the Medusa, they tried this Phoenix Tree twice. They picked a Pudge for Baboka. Just seemed very experimental.
Yeah. And the right time to do it, I guess, during the group stages as well. Okay, we're going to check in with our Reddit thread once more. There have been many more social media questions, and we'll get our panel to answer them right now. Do keep them coming and put them into the thread that exists for today. We'll also have one up again for day 1 of the main event in 2 days' time, remember, because tomorrow is a break. What change allowed Magnus to be a high priority pick? The panel are stumped.
That's not even stumped.
I mean, what change?
That's the thing. I think
scientists baffled.
I think we saw a lot of these, you know, melee carries come back into form, and what makes a melee carry better? Cleave and more damage. And I think he just, you know, Empowers was such a good ability, and that was one of the big nerfs that they approached with 7.05. You know, he just gives a lot of versatility as well with the AoE, you know, ultimate, and being able to go through BKB just provides a lot of different options. Wave clear with Q, the shockwave, and then skewer, just kind of an ability that it's an all-around good ability. It gives you a little bit of maneuverability as well as be able to get people into position that you want them to be.
I mean, all those points are true, but the thing is, Magnus has always had that. So that's why the question is making me think.
What change?
What change allowed for
Nerfs on other offlaners?
To be honest, I think the thing is he's an offlaner who has no sustain, and these shrines came into the game, and it gave him a way he could actually go to the offlane. This PMS build got popular. He could actually sustain in there. Before, even before he got popular, if you saw Magnus offlane, he would get full zone. And he would be very easy to mess with in the jungle. He would have to take Empower first. You could just send a support after him. He had no real spells. The shrines allowed him to stay in lane and sort of get the advantage. But what Conrad is saying is definitely true. Some of these melee cores became more popular.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe the offlane being a bit of an easier lane in the shrines. I think that's the biggest change I could think of. Perhaps, I mean, he's gotten some small buffs, right? Empower's gone better. Especially the cooldown has gone a lot lower. You can empower like 3 or 4 people now as opposed to like 2 when it was originally.
One key thing, actually, when you mentioned shrines, I forgot about that, but in conjunction with Iron Town, you know, being able to farm that jungle and being able to heal up right away rather than having to go back to base, really help accelerate his farm and give you options if your offlane isn't going very well.
I think maybe we kind of like touched on it, but I think talents too, right? I think he has some pretty sweet talents.
That's probably the biggest one.
Right?
That's a good one.
Yeah. I think his talents are pretty suited, but I also think the nerfs that have gone to the other super popular offlaners like the Centaur, the Abaddon and stuff made him rise in popularity as well.
Okay, so in answer to the question, the short answer is shrines and talents. Scientists no longer baffled.
Took us a minute.
It's about quality.
You gotta get the gears
show.
working.
It's quality, not quantity. We're delivering high quality gear. As you can see, the two teams are just getting ready to enter the lobby for draft number 3 as we head into our third game of the Kiev major. And we'll take some more social media questions in the meantime whilst we're waiting for them as well. As I said earlier, do pop your question into the Reddit thread if you can find it right now on Dota Reddit. And we will have one up for the main event, of course, as well. So let's have another question and see if we can put our scientists to the test here. If you had to live as a unit in the game, what would you be?
Oh, that, the little like mosquito.
It comes from someone called Sir Action Slacks. Never heard of him.
You know the dragonfly that sometimes like buzzes over your screen and just like blocks you for a second? I'd be the dragonfly.
Why?
I don't know.
Just a little bit annoying
You're not
enough.
that short.
What does that have to do with being short? As a dragonfly. That was a poor shot.
Was it? They're kind of tiny.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. No real reason?
No, I don't know. I mean, that's a Slacks question. Do I have to give a real reason?
No, you don't. No, you can just be as weird as you like with the Slacks question.
Was this the best question they could find?
Yep, absolutely. It's a Sir Action Slacks question. Are you questioning
the
quality of Sir Action Slacks memes?
I answered.
You know what? I'll be the fountain.
Okay.
You can't be killed. You do a lot of damage. You're helping everybody. It sounds like a good experience for everybody involved.
You can be slept though.
I'll be yeah. You can be slept in
That
Chrono.
sounds great.
You can be slept in
I
Chrono.
love sleeping.
Do you know Carty from the Dota cinema videos? He just went around slaying barracks, off on his own, off on an adventure. I'll be Carty.
Really?
I like that.
Okay, I like that.
I don't know any other named normal units.
How about you, Paul?
I'd just be a shrine, wouldn't I? Old, decrepit, falling apart.
I thought you were going to be the ancient for that reason.
Hey! Cha-ching.
I had it waiting.
That was a good
shot.
shot. That was a proper shot across that side. I nearly died there. Good one. All right, okay. Moving on swiftly. I wonder whether we're near the draft right now or whether we want another social media question or not. I think we can get one more social media question in before we head off to our draft for the third game. If you are just joining us, welcome to the Kiev Major. It is day 2 of the group stages. We're going to wrap things up today as well. We're in our third and final game of our third series of the day. We do have one more series to come. We're just going to go through a few more bits and pieces here in terms of social media questions. Right now, in light of Mid 1 and Abed's performances, do you think SEA equals powerful region? Good question.
Absolutely.
They didn't even put TNC there.
I know. they missed
I think they've kind of run out of room maybe on there, but I would add that one in as well.
I'm curious to see, this question is, somebody's probably looking at the West, but they're not actually looking at the region itself. One team that we're actually seeing right now that's doing really well is Clutch Gamers, and they've kind of come out of a little bit of, kind of nowhere, and it shows that the whole region is growing as a whole. The Southeast Asia qualifiers, I think a lot of the teams looked really good coming into that.
Yeah, it was a tough qualifier.
Even Fnatic, I think they just secured a land against Clutch Gamers, and they were a team that people weren't too sure of. You had some old starts coming back, but they look pretty good.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of their games.
Yeah. Do you think that the performances of Mid 1 in particular and Abed have kind of raised the profile of Southeast Asia again?
Oh, for sure. I think some of the smaller regions are very underrated, like NA. Go NA. But, okay. So when people talk about matchmaking servers, I often see on Reddit and stuff that people always talk badly about the C server.
Right.
But to be honest, the C server is the